Hi, Tim. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm okay. I've had better days.
Yeah. So, what brought you in to see me today?
Well, uh, basically, I yelled at my kids because when I get home, tired, cranky, just need a minute to myself. I need a rest. They just mob me when I get home, and sometimes it's just too much, so I get angry.
Okay. So, what does it look like when you get angry?
Well, usually it's just like I'll raise my voice, I'll yell, sometimes something, pretty much just that. But it's sometimes enough to make my kids cry.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that would be upsetting. So, when you come home from work, you're tired for a long day at work and you just want to come home and relax. And the first thing that you're greeted with is your kids happy to see you, to tell you about their day at school, and then that overwhelms you and leads to you getting upset and angry. Is that my understanding correct?
yeah, it's not every day. It's not all the time. It's just sometimes, sometimes I just need that quiet time when I get home to just reset for family time instead of work time.
Sure, I understand. So, can you think of a time between the time when you get off work, you get in the car, and the time when you arrive home? Your kids are running at you, happy to see you. Can you think of a time in between there that where you could take a minute?
I suppose.
So, would it be possible that you could take that minute after you get off work when you get in your car? Could you take that minute right then?
Oh yeah, because then I wouldn't have to worry about anybody coming out and attacking me or mobbing me for attention. I could just take that time to decompress, I guess, in my vehicle.
Okay. Well, my thought is to just take that moment, a moment of mindfulness. There's a protocol called the STOP protocol that might help you. It's an acronym for a procedure for you to kind of take that minute and what you can do in that minute that can kind of reframe you, as you drive home and have that interaction with your kids. Are you interested in maybe something like that?
Well, I'm interested in anything that can help me, not be a jerk to my kids.
Yeah,
Nobody likes making their kids cry. So.
absolutely. So the acronym is STOP, and it stands for stop, take a break, observe, and then proceed mindfully. So what that would look like is, let's say you're getting off work, you're walking to your car, you're opening the door, you're getting in, and you're sitting down. Before you put the key in the car to start the car, maybe you could take that stop moment then. Does that sound like something that would work? Take a moment then at that time?
Oh no, you gotta put the key in the car and turn the radio on at least. Gotta have tunes while you chill.
Well, this is all about mindfulness. So the thought is to kind of quiet your mind. Hopefully you can take that, your work day and kind of set it aside a little bit, and it's just a couple of minutes. So maybe 2-3 minutes where you're going to just stop, take a break. So take a breath, maybe 2 or 3 breaths might be better. Just take a couple breaths and let your mind kind of wind down a little bit from your work day. And then you're going to observe how you're feeling inside. You're going to observe those emotions. You're going to observe how your body's feeling at that time. And you're going to try to relax that, right? We're trying to reframe this so that when you go home, you can have a more positive interaction with your kids. So the last part of that STOP acronym is proceed mindfully. So now that you know how you're feeling and you know how your body's feeling, the think about how you want the rest of that interaction to look like. So on the way home, you're going to be thinking about that, so that the idea is that when you're home, you'll be able to practice what you were thinking about, and then you'll have hopefully a more positive interaction with your kids. So, what does that sound like to you? Does that sound like something that's possible for you?
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time or out of my day. I don't have any obligations per se, so it's not like I have to do it at a certain time. It would be, I guess, at my convenience. In between compression of my work day and the decompression of my home time. I guess that would be a good opportunity to turn that valve. Good way
Okay.
to good way to do it.
Okay.
The stop.
And so, can you envision that helping you to have those better interactions with your kids? Can you see that working for you going forward for the rest of the evening?
I mean, yeah. I mean, ultimately, if you start the night off bad, it just sets a tone. So, it makes it a shorter trigger the rest of the night. So
Sure.
by starting the night off, with maybe a better mood, a better tone, it seems logical that it would proceed um, easier.
Mhm, mhm. And so once you get home and the kids are running towards you, "Daddy, Daddy," they're happy to see you. Um, I know that you were talking about how that causes some anxiety and is a little bit overwhelming. And so this stop piece might kind of help that. What does the rest of the evening look like for you?
Like that evening or normal evening, or like, are you asking about past evenings, or are you asking about in my mind? What does that look like?
That's a good question. So I guess let's talk about what a normal evening would look like without the stop intervention that we just discussed.
Well, I mean, normally I'd come home, still tired and grumpy from my day. Work doesn't always go great, so it's just nice to get away from work, get away from anything to do with work at home. Maybe I can get changed into my non-work clothes and it just kind of chill for a little bit. But it's excuse me, it's really hard to do that sometimes when you're being just mobbed by kids who excuse me, mobbed by kids who miss me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. So, do you think that, so on the stop evening, when you're using that mindfulness piece we talked about, how do you foresee that going for the rest of the evening?
I think it could work really well. Sorry about my voice.
That's okay.
I'm
And
gonna breathe
so,
something in or something.
yeah. And so once you get home, you're a little bit in a little better frame of mind. You're ready. You're prepared for that interaction with the kids to come, bounding out and daddy and coming to see you and tell you about their evening.
Right.
Do you think that maybe you might need another stop moment in between after that interaction for the rest of the evening? Do you think maybe you could utilize that a second time?
Well, I mean, there's always a possibility that maybe the night starts out okay, but anything can trigger frustration, as we all know who've
Hmm.
been parents. So it could seem a useful tool for any time, really during the night, to help it go smoother. To just do the stop, protocol, where
Okay.
especially if I do it often enough, then I won't have to be like, oh, stop, I got to go figure this out. But if I do it often enough, it'll be natural, and maybe I can work it into a seamless evening of
Mm.
better time.
So that does sound like you're pretty positive about that working for you. So that's wonderful. So what I'm going to do today is give you some homework. I know everybody loves homework.
No, I'm good. I don't like homework.
But my homework for you is to practice that stop moment. I'm going to say 3 to 5 days a week. That way, if you can't do it every single day and you have a bad day or you're tired and you forget, it's not a big deal. You're going to do it as many times as you can. So I'm going to say, let's try for 3 to 5 days next week. You're going to stop when you get in your car before you turn on the car and take that moment to kind of reframe and redirect your mind and to try to have a more positive outcome with the kids. And we'll see how that goes. Do you think that's going to be okay with you? Is that going to work for you?
Yeah, I think we could make that work.
Okay. Now, a piece of that homework might be to write down just a couple sentences of how that went. For those that are able to do that, so that when we come back next week, we can kind of talk about how it went, what feelings you were feeling each time, and if that seems like it's going to be a positive outcome for you, or if we need to think of something else that might work a little bit better.
Sounds like traditional homework. Can I have COVID homework that I don't have to turn in?
So I have a little worksheet here for you, kind of make it a little easier so that you don't have to think about it. You just write a couple sentences down. I'm going to leave it up to you when you write those sentences, if it's in the evening after, right before you go to bed, or maybe the next morning, whatever works for you. And then just bring this to your session next week so we can kind of talk about it. Like I said, I don't expect you to practice it every day. This is a new protocol for you. This is something new. So it takes a little bit to get used to. So I just expect you to do your best. And, I know that you're dedicated to working towards this and you love your family, obviously. So this seems like a good place to start. Would you agree with that?
Got to start somewhere.
Okay.
Let's start here.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you for coming in today, Tim. I sure appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
So that was, oh shit.